Join us every week for coaching and Q&A. You'll learn how to get more listings signed and sold following the simple and fun easy listing method. Plus, find hidden gem tips and get motivated as you surround yourself with like-minded peers in this weekly mastermind. Let's jump in.
One more minute and then we'll get started. Kat sent me a picture of something that I find pretty, I think we all know it conceptually, but I wouldn't have thought the rates were as high as they were, believe it or not, and what I'm going to show you. And we're going to start out with that, and then we're going to go into talking about a new form that we put in the agents back room. If you have a lead that you want us to take a look at, a real estate investor lead, there's a form now you can fill out and send it in, and we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Obviously, right now, it'll probably be a lot quicker but after last Thursday's training, I think we had 13 properties sent in just asking if we'd be interested in looking at them. So I think it's a great way for you guys to make incremental money, and ties in well with the leads that we're going to be sending out. So it's just a wonderful way to get everything started and going. For our company, the fastest road to getting homes on the site are working with the real estate investors. And talked a little bit Thursday about real estate investors. The very cool thing about them is they're either spending, I don't know any that are spending less than $5,000 a month on generating leads. And because of the buyer's premium, when we can take that non-converted lead rate from 0 and plug in any number that we want with it. Adam, who is the REI owner that came aboard, and he is 6 for 6 with non-converted leads. And that's pretty cool that we can help them out, because the more we help them out, the more listings they'll bring in, the more agents they're going to need. And I'll tell you that the 6 that have gone through the site already have been the easiest things to work. They come in with a certain price. All you really have to do is get one offer and it's a done deal. If they happen to go up, the seller just will give you that many more deals. It's a very cool process. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and get started on it. So Kat sent in this picture that I'd like to know everybody's thoughts on it. It is a picture of what sells real estate wise without being on the MLS. And you'll see it's a really low number, but quite honestly, I would have thought it would have been lower than this. So Kat, is this the California regional MLS?
Yeah, so it's big numbers, and just keep in mind that the average price point might be a little bit higher than some of the other areas of the country.
Okay. So the home that I focus on is the off MLS, then on the MLS, and then never in MLS.
I don't think it's showing on your screen.
It isn't?
I don't see it. Do you guys see it?
No, you're not sharing your screen.
I did share it.
No, it's not coming up.
All right,
There
can
we
everybody
go.
see it now?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's so weird. But quite honestly, even for 89, if we talk about never in the MLS, out of 329 homes, to me, for 89 of those to have sell or 89 days, but even 1% selling, I would have never thought that they would even get that 1.35%. Down here, what I like to look down here, the highlights of it, off MLS has stayed on the market 20 to 22 days longer. And then the off MLS sold for $27K below listing price. So where does this come into play, you guys? You're canceled, expired, and for sale by owners. That they need the MLS to do the job of marketing the property. Remember, I've been a part of 11 MLSs. Every one of them have a 3-day period that are on the hot sheet, in the proverbial hot sheet. What do we like about the hot sheet is they're syndicating to as low as 1,000 ML or 1,000 websites up to, I've heard, as high as 12 and 13,000 websites worldwide that they are syndicating that listing to. So off the MLS and then on the MLS, pretty good chance that those were for sale by owners, right? And you know, this, Kat, can we send this out to everybody?
Yeah, I already shared it in the Facebook groups too.
Okay, so it's in there. This is a great thing to put inside of your listing presentation for the for sale by owners. You know, even going traditional, Mr. Seller, you're still losing $27,000. Everybody needs to know the value of what they do. You know, agents, the reason why they do for sale by owners is they don't think agents deserve the money. And with all the master training and the training that you guys have gone through, with all the things that you can offer your sellers, that should never, ever, 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 ever be a predicament in anymore. And I'll tell you a cute story. I don't know if my wife will appreciate it. We are selling some good friends' homes, or turning around and buying a $3 to $4 million home. And my wife is the first one to say, well, you know, they're good friends and they've been clients forever. And so she was going to discount the commission, and something that Uncle Robert never does. And so anyway, she had gone and offered these sellers this low commission, and even they turned around and looked at Mona, are you crazy? We know that you run a great business. We know all that you do. We're not even going to let you list it for that low. So why do I bring up this story? In this economy, and when you get into bigger homes, when you do your job with everything that we do, everything you can offer a seller through our process, you shouldn't, I don't care if the home's $100 million, you shouldn't be giving away commission. There, you've got so many different ways that you can offer your sellers to be strong and make them the most amount of money. And so I was really proud of those sellers for saying that they understood the value of what we do. And for everybody here, that when they go through a listing presentation and they go through the training that we put you through, there should be no question about you earning your money. Your commission should go up. You know, the top 10% of realtors, what do you think they're getting for commission? In fact, we'll go one by one. Michael, what are they getting for commissions from the seller themselves?
I know some of them are getting it up to 5% here in Arizona.
Okay. Greg Bilbro, what do you think the answer is?
The listing commission, what does the listing agent get?
Yep. The top 10%.
The top 10%?
Yep.
I think Matt shoots for, he tries to get 7, and he tries to keep 3.5 on his side and give the other guy 2.5.
And I only went on the buy, so he's at 3.5, but he actually finagles to get more out of him. He was 3.5 to 5.
Yeah.
On there. So that's another great answer. Joy?
I would say they were getting at least, I mean, over 3% up to 7%. I've known that some are getting 7%.
Kat?
I was going to go in terms of minimum and say no less than 3% ever.
Ever. Exactly. Paul?
Yeah, the guy I talked to in Michigan, Grand Rapids area, he, as we were talking, says he likes to start out at 7.
7%. Sonny?
Nobody said 6 yet, so I'll say 6.
Okay. Kenneth?
Yes, 6%, 6%, but that 7 sure sounds good for me. For that 1% going back.
Well, and I'm talking about only for the seller side.
Right. Oh, for the seller side.
Yep.
Oh, 6.
Okay. Frank?
I really have no idea, to be honest with you. You know, and some of the folks here for market share, they'll take a discount just to get the deal here where I'm at. So I just worry about myself, to be honest with you.
Okay. So there's a Mike Cook down there. that I personally know. He's over in, he's on the beach. I think he was in Sanitas. I think he's moved down to Del Mar now. He was getting 4% minimum on the seller side. I went through training with them 5 years ago, so became friends with them. Naomi,
What is 6%?
North Carolina market. Ronald Weeks,
5%.
5%. Okay, so how are the top 10? There's a lady here in Washington. Her name is Randy Stone. She only does $1 million homes, and she gets anywhere from 5 to 7% on the listing side.
Good for her.
Why are we settling for 2.5, 2, 1.5, 1?
I think it's really great too. We can come up with even creative incentives in that with our sellers and say, you know what, I can charge the standard 3.5% on the listing side. However, if I'm able to get it under contract in a week's time, which I just did, then that increases by a point. Or if we're able to get a certain amount over market value, then wouldn't you be willing to pay me more?
Awesome. So why would I bring this up right this minute at this time in this part of our world? One of the most beautiful things about the buyer's premium, you guys, is you control the commissions that you can get. What's the most important thing about a buyer's premium? The buyer's premium, just you have to make sure that you're inside that price range, that it's not going to take it out of the marketplace. So in other words, if it's staying down 6 to 10 to 15% below, you can put whatever the heck you want on the thing. Some of these investors are coming in with these homes that they've pre-negotiated, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 under market value. And even though we're talking about, because most of the investors, we build in a buffer for the investors of 3%, let's say, for you to make 3, the buyer's agent to make 3. So now we're at 9%. The site gets 1%. Let's pretend we have a home that the investor worked out a $400,000 home, but yet the home's worth $550,000. You come in, you put that home on the site for $400,000 with a 12% buyer's premium. Somebody with the calculator, tell me what 12% of $4,000 is.
48.
Okay, so we have a home that's 150 below market value, and we're starting at $400,000. That if we get one offer with a 12% buyer's premium, that brings it up to 448.
Below market value.
Below market value. And I'm not going to mention the agent's name, but he had a home in Southern California that was valued at $950. They put it on the site for $799, and he decided he was going to only put an 8% buyer's premium on there, and he was giving the investor 3, 2.5 to the buyer's agent, and then he was only going to take 2 and give us the 1. So the home went through the process, it sold, and he left 60 grand on the table. And then he's complaining about only making 2% because he's paying the EZ fee out of his 2%. And he's complaining about it. The mindset's got to be is representation, the seller, but also knowing what you're doing for the seller. Don't settle. If you have investors that are that great of negotiators, or you can bump in, remember that 3% that we're bumping in, that is a protection mechanism for us. Most of the investors on the novations, the fixed, they've got money built inside of that deal before it ever hits the market, right? And you heard our investor out of 6 deals, he's averaging $24,000 per deal on the novation side, the non-converted lead. He's averaging $24,000 in profit. And not only that, we have 3% built in for a protection mechanism. Do you really think that the investors are going to mind that you make a little more money if you do your job?
That's
No.
the point. We've got to do our job. We've got to earn our money, and we can prove that we have the juice to be able to do it. That's the point.
Everybody should win. The seller wins by making it transparent. They're going to get more money. You guys should win, and also the investor. We are going to make sure the investors win simply with the protection. Let's say they only get one bid on the property because they didn't have the home. They didn't negotiate very well. It's still
Robert,
beautiful.
maybe Greg could explain to the folks on the meeting today what his investors are saying about the easy real estate process and platform and what it's meaning to them. I mean, we've talked about Adam and how well he's converted leads that were, not able to be converted. But I mean, what are your guys saying, Greg, that makes them so happy about what they're seeing?
I'd be happy to. Robert, you want me to touch on that? Is that good?
Sure.
Yeah. So I've said this before, but I don't even know if I articulated it well or that many times or even to this group, but an agent is concerned about a fiduciary capacity and delivering agency, whatever that means. Bunch of fancy words, but we all get that. But that's what they have to do. Per Article 1 of NAR, Sentence 1, and I have this on one of my presentations, it says the agent pledges to make their primary focus to fiduciary agency, blah, 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 right? And so it's the most important thing. You've got to do that. And if you're not following that, then you're not being a good realtor. Well, this does that, okay? But what it does for my REIs on my side, it's like 10x better than that. Because when you help an agent deliver a better fiduciary service, that's a good thing. And that'll make them feel good. And that's what they want. But REIs, show me the money, baby. And this is about the money. And this makes you a whole lot more money with no monkey business. And there's a lot of monkey business in the REI space. There's AI bot this, and there's follow-up that, and there's VA centers and whatever, and just all kinds of junk. And that stuff just sucks, doesn't work. But it's all gimmicky, and they sell it. This, not a gimmick. This works because it's human behavior. Every REI gets price discovery can go two ways. There's no like weirdness there. They're like, yeah, you can go top down, bottom up. So that's click. They all get eBay, click. And then they can see how a bid war is absolutely in their best interest. It's a little pop quiz I have on one of my other little slides. Pop quiz, multiple choice, 4 question, 1 question, 4 answers. What's in the REI's, what's in the seller's best interest? A, 0 buyers. B, 1 buyer. C, 2 buyers. Or D, ferocious bid war. It's ferocious bid war. There's nobody that's not good with that. And so when an REI can connect those dots and then you tell them it's for no money, I mean, it's like watching, it's like just amazing. They just click and it's like ding, and then you don't even have to talk to them. Like they're cool, goodbye. And they like hang up on us and they say, we're going to do all of our deals with you guys tomorrow, goodbye. Really, it's just like black and white.
And the reason why, guys, is the REI is the asset owner, just like a home owner is the asset owner. But the asset, the REI guys are financial guys, right? And when they realize they're listing this for 0%, they automatically just made 6% on the net sheets, right? I mean, they've automatically made 6%. I mean, you can guarantee that to them because it's just math. On $1 million sale, right? On the old way, the asset owner gets $940,000. On the easy way, they take home $1 million. That's $60,000 more. That's 6% just by using our process and platform. Why the heck wouldn't they pay you as the agent a premium for helping them do that? For making an extra for making an extra 6% and guaranteeing it. Good.
Share.
Yeah, we
There
can.
you go. Yeah, now we see it. Yeah.
Okay, and does it say the top flip numbers, different ways on market? Different days on
Yes.
market? Okay, so this is essentially like irrefutable. And when Paul had said it's just math, here's the math. This is the math. And they all can do this in their head. This is not fancy. It's like they all, once they get this thing does this on the right column, not the left column, which I'll break down, then it's just the math hits them and it's just game over, right? And so what is the math? It is so powerful. And this is why I have said a few times, like, it solves the agent's pain really well. It's a wonderful, beautiful solution for the agent. But I mean, it's irrefutable on the REI side, right? You can't argue it. So the only thing they can say is, well, but does it really work? That's it. And that is not even that's nothing, River, that we can get through that all day long. So this right here, I'll make it maybe a little bit bigger. This screen on the left-hand side says there's basically 3 columns. The left side is what's going on in terms of the money. The middle column is what I call TDPD, top-down price drop model. MLS is a TDPD strategy. It's top-down price drop. It's what you do. And then on the right-hand column is easy plus MLS, which is BUBW, a bottom-up bid war model or strategy. And that's just how they work. Okay, so in the middle column, if you buy a house, if an REI buys a house, Frank the Flipper buys a house. It's a 500K neighborhood. It was on the market. It's fixer-upper. It's 425, hits the MLS 425. Frank the Flipper makes a cash offer of $400. Boom, he gets it. Okay, so Frank the Flipper made a cash offer in a 500K neighborhood, and he's happy. He's now doing 1 month of paint and carpet and countertops or whatever, and appliances, and 20K. Let's say it costs 20K. So when Frank the Flipper closes, this is very common. And if this is new to you, you guys will love this. This is really cool. It's hard money. It's explaining how hard money affects the flipper. Hard money is expensive. So when Frank the Flipper buys on day 0, he closes escrow. Let's call that day 0. What's common is it's a $400,000 acquisition. Frank he goes and gets a 75% hard money loan, 75% of the money. So that would be $300,000 on a $400K purchase. Frank brings the other $100K. He's got cash. Frank's got $100K in his back pocket, so he brings the other $100K, $400K purchase. So now he's got $100K in the deal plus 20 for rehab. That goes in on day 30, let's say. Rehab is done, the agent is done, pictures are done, and it hits the MLS. Okay, cool. You got 1 month of cost. Now you're on the MLS for 1 month. You go on the market. Now, what does everybody do? You shoot the moon. You go, let's go 550 because I'm Frank the Flipper, and I think the thing's better. And then it doesn't happen. You don't get any. You get showings, no offers. The agent calls day 29. Hey, Frank, you kind of shot the moon. Like, it's a 500K. Let's get down. Okay, fine. 525. You go on the market another month, and you get more showings and more feedback, but no offers. Day 59. On days on market, we already have 30 chewed up. So now we're almost at 3 months. The agent calls and says, Frank, dude, I told you it's 500K neighborhood. What are you talking about? Soft market, days on market. You didn't do the AC like I said. It's 500K. You drop 500K and boom, you get an offer that night. And what do you get an offer for? Not 500K, 480. Right? Because that's just how it works. And so you get a strong offer for 480, husband, wife, good jobs, W-2, 30% down, whatever. They need, an appraisal and inspection, but it's like good buyers. And so you counter 490 the next morning, and let's say they accept it. So that would be the third price drop. 550 to 525 to 500, boom. So this is just what we do. Agents do. We all do it, right? So in that case, if you look at the numbers, and I'll go a little quicker, you can just see the math. You make 25K net profit doing that, Frank the Flipper. And when you do that in 120 days, 365 days a year divided by 120 is 3. Is that right? 3? 120? Yeah, 3. So you can do 3 flips. Frank can move his money, his 120K, 3 times a year because that's how long the money's consumed. And then he gets it back and he can do it again. That's called velocity money, transaction velocity, whatever. So on the right-hand side is where the magic happens. And you guys are already ahead of me. You can just see the one big difference is 60 days goes to 5. When 60 days goes to 5, that's the beauty. Now there's more to it than that, but the math, that's the wonderful part of the math. So now you got way less risk all over the board. you're putting in, instead of 15 grand of carry costs and hard money costs and insurance and utility, HOA and the pool guy and the maintenance dude and the whatever. You know, your market exposure is 60 days. Markets shift in 60 days. They go weird. Markets do not shift in 5 days. So there's just so many reasons why this makes a lot of sense. Another thing that's happened to me is you're on the market, you're doing price drop, 30, 60, 90 days. And then some idiot sells his house next door for a low comp. And now you are competing with a low comp, and your good comp that you were betting on from 90 days ago when you did your homework to underwrite the deal, that fell off 7 months ago. So now the appraiser can't even find their good comp. And you got this stupid guy next door that just sold for 100K left or less or whatever. Like, that happens. So markets can shift, bad comp, syndrome can happen. You spend less money. And the moral of the story is you make more money per transaction, 25K versus 31,875K. But now you can turn your money twice as fast, right? You can do 5.6 deals instead of 3, and there's no 0.6 deals, but you can see the math. So now instead of making 75 grand a year, I make 159 grand a year. 75 times 2, that's phenomenal. Who in the hell can walk around and be like, hey, I got a 2x in my back pocket? We just have to get this in front of every human being on planet Earth, because that argument is black and white. They get it, and once they do, sayonara.
That's brilliant. Well done.
A lot of number, you guys.
Go ahead.
And but these are the things that will set you aside and take you up into the higher commission rate and the higher, all these things that we're talking about. It's a lot of numbers. Every one of these trainings get posted on our website and on the YouTube channel. And Kat, is it Facebook as well?
Facebook, it's the links to the website and YouTube. It's a bridge.
If you want to make easy money, you want to get listings easy, you want to score it. So, Greg, let me ask you one more question. If these investors are making that much more money, do they have any problem with the agents making an extra couple percent?
No way.
Transaction?
I mean, you're going to have assholes out there that just try to nickel and dime every penny out of everything. In fact, you and I both know one, Robert, and he will
run.
We will not bring his name up because he's
run.
Yeah, but most people are like, no, if I can make more money in less time with less headache and it's easy and I don't have to do anything, like, I'm in. And good guys, I was definitely one of them. I wanted my agent to make more money. You want to take care of that person. You want to, that's your teammate, man. I don't want to be the realtor anymore. I got them on the team. I want them to win. So it's just, you want to work with those people.
So, and Greg's bringing a lot of these people into our world at a very, very, very rapid pace. And, it's been fun to learn all the things. There isn't another agent in the world that has a protection mechanism like we do by utilizing the buyer's premium. And I can tell you, last week talking to 13, 14 real estate investors, one of the guys that Greg brought in as part of the $1 billion boardroom. Is that right, Greg? Is that the name? He called me up. We had a meeting with him. He called me up the next morning and just was so excited that he is changing his business model. And keep in mind, I don't know what it costs to be $1 billion boardroom. I just know it's huge money. And he's saying, I am going to change my business operation around to the easy way. It just makes life simple for them by utilizing a buyer's premium versus the way they've been doing it. There's just, I know everybody knows a real estate investor. Couple ways, and we'd all be happy to hop on a phone call with you. A couple ways to get them to flip a switch really quick. Talk about their non-converted leads. How much are they spending a month? And then what percentage of their leads are actually turning into transactions, and what percent are non-converted leads? And they'll all say anywhere from 90 to 98% are non-converted leads. And we had the same guy that we had that are saying this was costing him $17,000 per sale in leads. Imagine getting that trimmed down to $1,000 per sale, 500 per sale. And that's one of the ways the non-converted leads. The second way that you can talk to them and get them to talk to you right off the bat, I have a protection mechanism in there for you. Even if we don't score and we don't make a lot of money, and because what does that say? The market has spoken. Everybody remember that?
Mhm.
The house is only worth what the house is worth. But yet, if he's not going to make anything on his fix and flip or his innovation, I have a way that I can build a 2 or 3% protection mechanism. At least they get back their marketing money. And I promise you, every one of them, not only will talk to you, but they'll probably try to date you too. Go ahead, Greg.
On the agent side, maybe not as much, although it's still good for the agent, but for the REI side, it's really important. And maybe not, because I'm sure on the retail side, there's plenty of people that if the buyer can't perform or backs out last minute, right? I'm sure that's a really rough thing for some sellers for sure. I can just speak, and I've been in the retail game long enough to know that can really like make people cry. I got all that. But for the REI, holy cow, when I tell them, yeah, and if your first guy blows up, I just call the second guy, third guy, fourth guy, fifth guy, and we'll have a buyer in no time. They're like, ding. So there's another gigantic risk area of risk from which to manage. And when you can say we come with backups, baby, and you know the backups, you'll have seen them. They're in the platform. So, and we probably had talked to the backups. We know who the backups are. We talked to the second and third guy in the final day, put the deal together. So it's like it's already warm. It's huge.
Best way to do that is to get those. And I did this recently with mine. I had them write a backup offer. The next person on mine, I said, "Give me a backup offer.
Wow.
This falls through, you're already in." So that, you know how much better that made negotiations? We came in and we had termite and they had radon. There was like 5 other things they wanted fixed. And I said, we're doing the termite because we have to. And that's all we're doing. We have a backup offer. And I said, you know what? We'll take care of the rest. And
Joey, don't you train on that too?
Yes.
I am telling you guys, you should know this, like the backward, forward side of your heart. You have 100 people. That's why 100 people at your open house is so important. And, if you live out in Podunk, Kansas, you should be getting 50. If you're not getting 50, you're not pricing home right. But they come in and they see more people that they've ever seen before. Trust me, they'll want to write you a great offer. They're not going to bail out. Believe it or not, after the offer process, the ones who know that they won and that they won the offer, they come out of there exhausted but exhilarated. They are not going to lose that deal. And I'm talking about hundreds of transactions that I've done, not 1 or 2. There's so many reasons to follow the training, do what we train you to do, use the process that we train you to teach on, because then it becomes infallible. If it doesn't work, Frank, if it doesn't work, why?
Robert, I'm going to say something to this team here that's listening.
Hang on one sec. Let Frank answer my question. Frank, if it doesn't work, why?
Because you didn't follow the program.
And if they don't follow the program, what do you do?
Well, just sell it the regular way because it's not going to work.
All right.
I use a lot of sports metaphors, and one that's very true is when the coach says to the players, "Hey, become a student of the game. Get really smart at the game, and add to your talent." Well, what Robert and this team has done here is we've changed the rules of the game, and so just getting smarter at the existing real estate game is not in your best interest. You need to understand the rules and how they've changed based on the buyer's premium, the 0% listing, the one and done open house, and it's a daisy link chain. Every link in the daisy link chain is critically important. If you skip one, you won't be successful, right? So, I mean, congratulations for you guys being here, but for your other teammates, you need to encourage them to keep coming, and then other people that you care about, invite them to come, because this is a disruptor. The REI guys, they're business minded, okay? They're doing this every day. The home seller who sells a home once every 7 to 11 years, they don't understand the game. But the REI guys, they make their living in it. And you're going to show up and you're going to rock their world by talking to them, right? Because they're doing this every single day and they're looking at us and they're saying, they're not saying it this way, but basically you've just changed the rules of the game. That's why this guy in Arizona said, I'm building my whole new, well, both of them, Matt and this other guy, they both are changing their business models based on what we've taught them. And they've only been through like 2 or 3 meetings. That's how fast they're seeing it.
Put this in perspective, and this is kind of goofy. I hope it's okay and appropriate. When I met Robert on a Friday at 8 in the morning on a Zoom, stranger, by 10 o'clock, he had offered me a position and I had said yes in 0 seconds. It was like, which is the weirdest thing in the world. Who meets a stranger and takes a position and starts the whole thing, without any dating? Like nothing. It's just, that's not customary. Usually, you do all kinds of stuff. But I knew exactly what Robert was talking about. I mean, crystal clear. And I had all that math in my head already. And I could just know that math will propagate. So that's how confident I am, for whatever that's worth, and it's not worth anything. But on the REI side, again, I don't think I've ever been this excited to sell something, and because it's not selling, it's literally helping people. It's helping small business owners fight this ridiculous environment that we're in an environment where we have 2 million less transactions floating around than we did a couple years ago, when everybody got fat and happy and expanded their team and got a new office and all this other stuff. Nobody's doing that right now. People are struggling, and this thing helps my crew. It solves their problem. It's 2x. They need it 2x, or they're out of the business. They're going out of the business. I know this. I kind of did myself, sort of. 1 degree removed through marketing. But I was doing marketing. My guys were struggling to stay in business. So I kind of failed with them. I saw it happen and feel bad about it. This is the other way around. This is get on the rocket ship and we're going that way. It's a really fun discussion to have with REIs.
Well, hey, Greg, I agree with you 100% because as a contractor myself and a flipper, I know, I see it. I see what's happening. I just got off the phone with a flipper that called me. That's in the Palisades fire area.
Oh, wow.
And in the Altadena fire area.
Wow.
And so we're meeting this week. But the main thing I wanted to say is the transparency of the platform, Robert, has given me my mind, like Greg, my mind started working. And we talked last week about why can't we just have a inspection report and put it on the MLS? Well, I'm going one step further. I'm going to pay for it because I work with several termite companies. I'm going to personally pay for the termite and I'm going to when I talk to my sellers, I'm going to say, by the way, the only thing I'm asking you is for you to pay for the inspection report. And when they tell me why, I'm going to say it's very important that we be as transparent, that we put everything out there so that the people that are going to be putting in offers for the property, they have all the information now. They now they don't come in and make it, subject to the inspection report. If they don't like the inspection report, next. Because it's really no time. Once the transparency is fully out there, buyers do not have my mind says, let me leave them no room to say, I didn't know. I didn't see that. Oh, I didn't know that was happening. No, when you submit your offer, when you're submitting your offer, whether it's through your agent or directly, you have all the information before you to move forward on it. And that's how I'm presenting it to my sellers. Hey, one thing I'm asking you, pay for that inspection up front. I'm going to pay for the termite. We're going to put on the MLS and let the offers roll in. Let the bidding start. So that's the existing transparency of the Easy platform put me right there. Put me right there to give even more transparency. So
I love it. That is awesome, Ken. Yeah, so Kenneth is doing this stuff, right, to make the owner more money.
Right.
Is there anything wrong with him making a little more money?
It's not going to be in my case.
So that's the point of today's. Don't be the reason why a seller needs you. So that being said, I've got 5 minutes left. I wanted to show you this new form that all of you that want to go out and bird dog and go through your expireds, go through your cancellations, for sale by owners. You might even be driving by a house that, when Mona and I were doing fix and flips, we'd see a home in disrepair, boarded windows, or yard starts getting longer. I'd go find out who the owner was and ask them if they want to sell. And then here's the cool thing is, you will have plenty of the means to do any of these things that you want to do with our backing and our doing the work for you. And we'll even pay a percentage of the profit. So if you happen to find a home that you think, like I say, after our Thursday meeting, I think I had 17 people send in homes by just going through their MLS that they thought might be approachable. So we created a form that's on the website. Everybody should recognize this website. This is that you don't even have to log in. But if you go to agents, submit an REI form.
Robert, do you want to show your
Are
screen?
you sharing?
Yeah, it might be a good idea.
And while you do that, I would say, Kenneth, that is a great idea going back to the hard money struggle, doing the termite and the inspection up front. I mean, that shortens closing time.
Thank
Well,
you,
I love
Kat. Yeah,
I love it.
and
All right.
and if I could, I need to speak to you about a Facebook issue. If you can give me your
Yeah,
email.
I'll drop it in the chat.
Thank you.
So if you go into the agents, submit an REI form,
Yes, you can.
and everything that has an asterisk by it, you must fill out. So the very top line, I'm sure everybody understands agent's email, your name and yada, yada, yada. What is it that you're looking to do? Cash out, innovation, fix and flip, wholesale, sub 2. We're going to be going through sub 2 and hotel on Thursday's meeting, so I wouldn't miss it. Shondell, I wouldn't miss it if you want to know the answer to this stuff. And then we've got pre-foreclosure, short sale, or easy listing. Simply check one of those. Quality of lead, is this somebody who's ready to make a deal right now? Medium, or confused what we have to offer? If they're confused, let us help you and talk to them. If you can find out if they have a mortgage or if they have a balance, what it is. Seller's name, email, and phone number, address of the property, select state, type, whether it's a house, condo, multifamily, villa, building, farmhouse, bedrooms, bathrooms, garage, up to a 5-car garage. You can, square footage, lot size, year built. And what is the minimum amount of price that they're asking for? What do you think? And if you don't know, just, you can put 0 down there. And then one things that we always like you to do is do a CMA on it. Let us know the as-is value and what you would think the after repair value. And you guys should be able to do that out of your CMAs. And then occupancy, you got vacant, tenant, or owner. And that'll help us to decipher. And then the best time to contact the seller. You can upload documents, anything that maybe it's HOA documents, maybe it's pre-foreclosure and they've received some bank notices that they've given you. Any of that stuff can be uploaded in here. You can upload photos in here. You can do a maximum of 30. You don't have to put it in like you do with Michelle in the order that you want it. Just get them loaded in there. Do they have any to pictures, media files, walkthrough, drone, etc., or something in Dropbox or YouTube? If you hit that, you can simply add some more pictures, some links to videos. Then we also want to know the property condition, seller situation, and then here's what the one that I don't see anybody else doing, but I like it.
Robert, do you want to show your screen?
Is there anybody else that
I
can't
see it.
See it? I see it.
Yeah, it's there.
Okay. Anyway, hang on. Whoever asked that, just hang on. We'll get you the recording, I guess. What I like about this one question here is why do you think this could be a deal? we all have criteria. You know, any hard lender, anybody that's going to lend money, any seller, and it may not meet our criteria on there. So this, why do you think this should be a deal? Answer it. If it doesn't meet the criteria, or what is the seller's hot button? What's it going to take to get this deal done? This is a great place to get creative and imaginative. Like, you know, the seller's been a pain in the behind to you, but they listen to money. They've talked to, you know, 1,000 investors. They're not happy with the cash offers they're getting. And yet anything that we can do to help structure a deal, this is a great place to put it in. And then if the home doesn't meet the criteria, why should we get it? That's another one. And additional information. You hit submit the property, and then we'll get back to you within 24 hours. Right now, we're actually doing better than that. So, and again, that's on the website under the agents. Scroll down or hit the drop down button and that REI form. So if you guys want us to take a look and partner up with you on some homes, that's a great place to put it. And it's a great place for all of us to make extra money.
One thing I just wanted to add with that is if you're out there meeting with the seller, taking video is a good idea. And then making sure if you're taking pictures, take pictures of key things and get information on age of roof, age of HVAC, age of water heater, any major like things that you would think an investor would need to know. So like the major if they say there's foundation issue, anything like that.
Okay, and I think you're putting that in there. You're sending them out a notebook for the new trainees, and we will post that. It's going to have that.
Yep, I can add that to training for sure.
Okay. All right, you guys. So that's our hour. Quickly, are there any questions on anything that we've gone over today?
Can you, I know we're in the middle of a vendor series with the topic Thursdays, but can maybe you, Greg, and maybe Adam do a workshop on calculating max allowable offer? That way agents can understand how an investor looks at calculating their max allowable offer.
Yep. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think we did a little bit that on this Thursday.